Thanks,
8:49,
Mike.
right, Mike, thank you very much. It started off as part of a secret World War II mission. Now Port Lockroy, the UK's first base in Antarctica, is celebrating its 80th year.
Hence the penguins. The tiny camp was established in 1944. It's been since central to research into climate change and is home to the world's most remote post office, as our reporter Francis Reid can explain.
Remote and isolated at the bottom of the world, Antarctica is a continent very few get to visit. But across the ice and through its freezing waters, it's here that a little-known British World War II operation came to pass 80 years ago. In 1943, at the height of the war, Britain was concerned. They'd found Argentinian flags staking claim to the area. Germany was seizing whaling oil from Norwegian ships, and Japan had attacked Pearl Harbor. Britain believed its territory in places like the Falkland Islands could be next, and so Operation Tabarin was approved.
Winston Churchill was told that unless we took action, there was a real and immediate danger that British territory might be taken away from us, and several ships were ordered to be dispatched in record-quick time to carry out the secret operation. Industries like whaling were hugely significant, and it's really important to grasp that before oil and gas from places like the North Sea became routine, we were actually critically dependent on whaling oil for fuel and heating. So these were big strategic economic concerns.
They didn't really know where they'd establish bases, maps were poor and the weather was bad. So Port Lockroy came about by accident, simply because it was accessible. As well as being of strategic significance, it was also the start of scientific discovery, still ongoing 8 decades later. It's crucial work for those who choose to undertake it, but it's not just about documenting our changing world. It's also home to the world's most southerly post office, which needs to be manned, sending thousands of postcards every year.
Hello from Antarctica!
The latest team were picked from thousands to work at Port Lockroy and have all sorts of jobs between them, from postmaster to penguin counter.
It's 3 months that we've been here in Port Lockroy, and it's going fantastic. I think we're just absolutely loving it still. It's getting used to everything taking a lot longer. Just that adjusting to such a different life is what we were doing first of all. And I think we've completely got into the swing of things now.
It feels really special because it feels like we're walking in the footsteps of the people that have come here before us. And in some ways, sometimes we compare our lives to how it was here in the 40s and the 50s.
Those who set up the first base at Port Lockroy had the reassuring company of penguins, and that's something that hasn't changed.
We've got now more than 2,000 on the island because we have the adults and all the chicks with us. We've got 771 chicks with us. It's very busy around us.
The team will return home soon, now a part of the history of this special place, carrying on 80 years of tradition on the coldest continent on Earth. Francis Reid, BBC News.
And we're joined by Camilla Nichol, who's Chief Executive of the UK Antarctic Heritage Trust. Morning to you. Natalie Corbett, who spent 4 months living in Port Lockroy, so you know what it's like.
Gee, yes.
We see those pictures, and it is, just from a distance, I'm thinking, very beautiful place.
It's
we see maybe the sun shining. What
Yeah.
about the darkest days, the hardest days?
I mean, we did have some issues with weather when we were there.
What does that mean?
We had a couple of big storms. We also had a lot of snowfall very early on in the season. But it's all part and parcel
And a storm
of being
there is not like a storm here.
Oh, no, we had like 100-knot winds at one point, and
what are you able
the
to do?
satellite fell off of the roof, so we didn't have any comms for a couple of days, which was fun.
And it means effectively you can't do anything, presumably just lock down, do you?
Yeah, if it's a really bad storm, you just stay in and close the doors and wait it out.
Is it like a whiteout? Can you actually see anything?
No, you can see. You just wouldn't want to be out in it for too long.
And the work you were doing there was what?
So we were running the base, so we were welcoming visitors to the museum each day. We were running the post office, so I think we sent 90,000 postcards out over the course of the season, and we were also counting the penguins, and I was running the shop there. which helps to raise money for the charity.
Who went to the shop?
So we had up to two cruise ships per day. So we'd have expedition visitors coming onto the island to learn about the history, send a postcard, and then buy some souvenirs.
How many penguins are there?
Just over 1,000.
Just about 1,000, yeah.
I mean, how do you count penguins? How do you count the penguins? How do you know you haven't counted the same one twice?
Well, that is the difficulty. It's quite literally you're out there with a notepad and a pencil and you're just counting the penguins.
So
very
generic
simple.
counting.
Yes.
Camilla, you've been part of kind of preserving Port Lockroy, haven't you? Its importance. What does it mean to you?
Well, Base A, as it was called when it was first established, was the very first British scientific station that was put into Antarctica. So it's the first wintering station. So the first time we had British people year-round, 24/7, 365 in Antarctica. And it was both a kind of geopolitical statement, but also it was starting this scientific programme. So all this news we get today about enormous icebergs breaking off into the Weddell Sea or new penguin colonies are being discovered by satellites, all that science has its origins at Port Lockroy.
When you send a team to maintain it, kind of how do you assess? Because it's precious. It is precious, isn't it? And it's got to have the right people with the right attitudes.
Yes.
How do you assess kind of the team that gets to go?
Yes, it's rigorous, isn't it, Natalie?
Yes.
Because you want people who can cope in that environment where it's cold and very little, you don't have any communications. Very many communications. It's very basic living, no flushing toilet, that sort of thing. But also, you've got to really enjoy meeting people that are visiting off ships. You've got to be aware of your working in the heritage environment, so you've got to have that kind of experience and awareness. And of course, an affinity for wildlife and knowing how to
Count penguins.
Count penguins, exactly. But the recruitment is really rigorous. It's a 2-day applications and the 2 days in an outdoor centre, and then we have lots of training. So it's a fortnight's training in Cambridge with us at the British Antarctic Survey.
Are you still looking for teams? Like, it's open every year?
Every year. So we recruit each year. We've got a team out there now, as you've just spoken to, and we're just about to start recruiting for next year.
So, Natalie, how did it change your life? Like, if you were to, you may not want to. You may just say, yes, I did it, I wish I hadn't. Or you may say,
No.
yes, I did it, and it changed my life because...
I think for me, it's given me such a greater appreciation of the world around us. I mean, we were there for 5 months with no internet. We were very much kind of cut off from society, but that in a way was so freeing. So just coming back and remembering to put down my phone sometimes, to go outside and really kind of appreciate nature and all the tiny things that come with that. I think that's been really life-changing for me.
OK, and then
Yes.
there's the other side of it that some people might be thinking. You're in a very remote place with people you didn't know before, who might have mannerisms or opinions or just that you don't necessarily like, that over a period of time might grow a bit, you're locked in. Did any of that happen, or are you far too polite to say?
No, I think, where the selection process is so rigorous, we're picked more as a team. Well, we're picked as individuals, but also as a team.
You can't know, can you, until you're there?
You can't know for sure, but we, honestly, everybody always says, no, you must have had an argument. We had no arguments, I promise you, not a single argument. We became like best friends.
I suppose also it's 5 months. You know it's going to finish.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And you're in the most incredible place on the planet, so all of life's worries seem very insignificant when you're there.
How many applications do you get?
We peaked at about 6,000 one year, but it's usually several hundred. So it is, and we whittle it down to about 20, and we bring 20 to the outdoor centre. And then we get down to 4 or 5 that we send down, and then we have some reserves as well.
So you would have seen my face when you said no flushing toilets. Okay. So pitch it then. Pitch the accommodation is fine.
Yes, it is. I mean, imagine it's a bunkhouse and it's comfortable. You've got everything you need, but you just don't have Wi-Fi and internet, and it's just basic living. So we have a very small environmental footprint. So flushing toilets and oil generators, that's not a thing. So it's very small, very compact living. We have to think about every ounce of waste that we generate. It all has to come out. We operate under the environmental protocol, under the Antarctic Treaty. Super important that we behave that way.
If I were in one of those places, I think if someone were humming quite a lot, I think that would get to me after a while. Just quietly humming to themselves, I think that would bother me.
We had, there were a couple of weeks, I don't know who started it, somebody started humming the tune to Funky Town, and it just spread, and every so often somebody would just go, and you go, oh no, can we all stop? It just went on and on.
You've just done that for everyone watching.
Yeah, there we go. Little reminder for the rest of the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.